Have you ever stopped to think about the apps you use every single day? How they go from just a simple idea to this complex piece of software in your pocket? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that whole journey. We're doing a deep dive into the evolution of one specific product, BrandPay, to see exactly how it was built, piece by piece, by the people who wrote the code.
So at the very heart of BrandPay is this idea called customer-generated commerce, or CGC for short. It's a really clever twist on what we usually call user-generated content. See, instead of just hoping people post about you, CGC creates this perfect little closed-loop system. Customers get rewarded for posting, but, and this is the key, those rewards can only be spent with the brand that gave them out. It's a marketing engine that basically pays for itself.
And this right here, this is the engine. They call it the brand flywheel. It's so simple, but that's what makes it so powerful. It's a three-step loop. Step 1, a customer posts about a brand. Step 2, they instantly get rewarded with earnings. And step 3, they spend those earnings right back with the same brand. You see how that works? More content creates more sales, which funds more rewards, and the circle just keeps on spinning.
So how in the world do you build something like this from scratch? Let's rewind the clock to the very beginning. The year 2023 was all about building that core engine, all the heavy machinery that runs silently in the background, making sure that flywheel can actually spin.
The focus back then was on three absolutely essential pillars. First, the core backend itself. Second, that all-important integration with Meta, so the app can actually see and react to Instagram posts. And third, the digital wallet. That's really the heart of the whole thing. It's the place where customers get their money and spend it.
Now, what's really wild is the amount of work that went into just one of those pillars. Look at this number, 402. That's the total number of individual code changes or commits that it took just to build the backend for the digital wallet. Think about that. Over 400 tiny individual updates to create just one feature.
And all that foundational work, which was led by a backend developer named Alexander Klistov, it resulted in this: the simple, clean, seamless experience that the user sees. A wallet where cash and vouchers just kind of magically appear, all ready to spend. All the hard stuff is hidden. And that, right there, is the sign of some seriously great engineering.
Okay, let's move on to 2024. The engine is built, it's humming along nicely in the background, so now the focus shifts. It moves from the back-end machinery to the front end, what the consumers and the brands actually see and interact with.
Yeah, 2024 was all about refinement. It was about building a beautiful, intuitive layer right on top of that powerful backend. This is when the app you see on your phone and the dashboard for brands really came to life, with a huge focus on building out key features like campaign discovery.
And a shift like that means the front-end team really gets to step into the spotlight. Developers like Tialowani Kalawale and Leah Lasansi became the architects of the user experience. Their job was to take all that powerful back-end tech and turn it into something people would actually love to use. They designed every button, every menu, every little interaction. And here is a perfect example of their work, the campaign discovery feature. This map view is a massive project. It took all this raw data from the back-end and turned it into a visual, fun, interactive way for people to find brands and campaigns around them. It's a fantastic illustration of how you turn code into a great user experience.
Okay, let's jump forward to 2025. This was a year defined by a huge leap in innovation. By now, the platform was stable. The user experience was great. It was time to expand the whole ecosystem and make it a lot smarter.
This all happened on two major fronts. First, they integrated with the gigantic world of e-commerce by connecting to Shopify. And second, they essentially built an AI brain for the platform. And I don't just mean that as a buzzword. It meant creating real systems to automatically spot fraud, automate workflows, and give brands way deeper analytics.
So picture this. On one hand, the team is building these bridges to e-commerce giants like Shopify, so any online store can just plug right into the BrandPay flywheel. And on the other hand, they're integrating these incredibly sophisticated AI tools, like OpenAI, to power a whole new suite of intelligent services.
This kind of innovation was driven by some highly specialized talent. The Shopify connection was spearheaded by Pasen Guruge, who was an expert in that specific integration. At the same time, all the new AI services were being built by Kirill Shuryayev, who brought a whole new level of automation expertise to the team. It really shows a strategic shift to hiring for very specific, very modern skills.
So we've seen what was built and when it was built. Now let's properly introduce the core team of architects who brought this entire platform to life. We've mentioned a few of them already, but let's see how they all fit together. And this table just lays it all out perfectly. You can see Fola, the lead backend developer with the most individual commits, driving those core features. We've met our front-end powerhouses, Tielawani and Leo, who built that user experience, and Alexander, the architect of that crucial digital wallet. And you can see the specialists who defined that 2025 leap, Kirill on the AI and Passan on Shopify. They were backed up by Imanshu on the UI and Ivan on other key back-end features. It's such a clear picture of how all these different specializations had to come together to build one product.
All right, let's zoom out one last time and just look at the big picture. The sum of all this effort, from that very first line of code back in 2023 all the way to the AI-powered platform of 2025.
This is the final number, 7,005. That's 7,005 individual code commits. Every single one represents a small step, a bug fix, a new button, a tweaked algorithm that, when you add them all up, built an entire product from absolutely nothing.
So what does that number really represent? Well, it's 2.5 years of continuous development. It's the creation of 54 distinct features spread across 4 major projects. And it's the combined work of that core team of 8 architects we just met.
And it all comes together to create this, a complex, interconnected web of services. You can see Instagram, Shopify, OpenAI, Google Maps. They're all orchestrated by the core BrandPay system. This is the technical reality behind that simple 3-step flywheel we started with. Pretty incredible, right?
So the next time you tap an icon on your phone, remember this story. Because behind every simple interface, there is an evolution. There are years of work, thousands of tiny changes, and a dedicated team of architects carefully building and refining the invisible machinery that just works.